Hey guys, Mary Wight here, registered dietitian at Fit Society. So I want to give some more specific examples to protein. Protein is probably the most important component of our meals. It's the building blocks for those muscles that we're trying to get bigger, that we break down, we build back up, but in general, super important at every meal. So let's dive a little bit further into protein to see what we're talking about. So number one, protein comes in two sources. We have an animal source, so if it roamed the earth, had a face, that's our animal source. Or if it came from the ground, that's our plant sources. So animals can be chicken, meat, beef, pork, eggs, dairy. Where our plant sources are beans, legumes, tempeh, tofu, and then the all new favorite, those Beyond Meat options that are kind of made up of a bunch of different plant based sources. Um, and they give us a range. So generally, our animal sources give us a little bit more protein per ounce than our plant counterparts. But it doesn't mean that we can't get all of the protein that we need from animal sources if that's where you prefer to get your protein from. Now, when we talk about protein in the nutrition world, we generally talk about it in serving sizes, and the serving sizes are in per ounce. So there's multiple servings of protein at a meal. It's because you can make it up any way that you'd like to. It's just we talk about it in kind of a per ounce or a half a cup. So if we remember in our general nutrition video, we learned that we need anywhere from like 2 to 4 ounces of protein per meal. So if we're looking at that, 2 to 4 is giving us anywhere from about 15 upwards into 30 plus grams of protein at a meal, giving us that good source of protein. So when we look at serving sizes, you don't have to measure out on a thing. We can look at our hand. The palm of our hand, roughly 3 to 4. Guy's hand is possibly 4, never know, and it could be a little less. But we can also think about it if we're looking in terms of like breaking it up into thirds, so we can kind of see what that looks like. Some things like beans and legumes, those don't come in kind of a perfect little patty like a piece of chicken or a piece of pork, like we can see with our hand. So when we talk about beans and legumes, we look at more about in kind of serving cup sizes. So about a half of a cup of beans, legumes is what we're looking at for a serving size. Again, remember, we're having multiple servings at a meal. That's just how we kind of talk about them in the nutrition world and how you can start seeing them when they're labeled on nutrition labels on the back. So let's look at an example just so we can get an idea of what that looks like. I've chosen to use a 165-pound person where their protein recommendations are going to be 80 to 90 grams per day. Again, these are general to the population. And if you check out our protein blog, there's a larger chart so you can find your specific weight range and what your recommendation for grams of protein are per day. But I also broke it up into servings per meal, so we can also think about it that way too, because sometimes the 80 to 90 can be a little overwhelming, but if we break it up into a meal, it doesn't look as scary. So 4 servings per meal. So let's say for breakfast, I'm going to have an egg breakfast. So maybe I'm going to have 2 eggs, maybe a slice of turkey bacon, and maybe an ounce of cheese. That just got me 4 servings. If at lunchtime, we're going to have some maybe we're going to have some tacos. So we're going to have maybe 3 ounces of meat between our 2 tacos and maybe an ounce of cheese between our 2 tacos. That just got us 4 servings right there. Lastly, we can look at dinner time. Maybe we're going to have about a 3 or 4 ounce serving of fish, like a salmon or maybe a halibut, and that would be our total. It doesn't have to be super complicated, and we can intermix our different choices of proteins within our meal. The important part is making sure we're getting to that recommended serving per day so that we know that we're building those muscles and repairing those muscles as we should after we've broken them down in our hard workouts. Thanks, guys.